everyone to another episode of Spooky Japan Podcast. Hoping everyone's doing well. Today we have Dave and Kathy with Para 911 SCIA. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Glad to hear it. So what got you guys into the paranormal?
Curiosity for me, and living in some kind of creepy houses when I was young pretty much is what got me into wanting to do it.
And I just, just a curiosity of what's out there. There's so many documentaries on UFOs and Bigfoots. And, I think there's just so many things out there that we're just so unaware of that I just want to know.
Okay. Did you guys kind of start it together, or did you guys kind of like meet and find out you both love the paranormal?
I started investigating in 2008 is when I started. She really couldn't tag along or come with us at the time because we had our son, and he was just a baby then, so couldn't really take him. And we had between the two of us 7 kids that we had to that we raised. So so for me, I started in 2008, and I want to say you started probably
a good 3 years ago. Yeah. I started going full time with you. Yeah, and I just, would love to go and see the history and learn about the different places that we go to. So, yeah.
One thing I love about it too is I love history, so learn about the history of the place too. Mm-hmm. Do you guys learn about the history before or after you investigate a place?
Kind of depends on the place that we're going to. We primarily focus when we do investigations. I mean, we like to go to all the major, big haunted places around here, But for us, mainly, we focus on private residential investigations. So a lot of stuff that we learn about is what we either get from the client to the investigation, and then after. Hold on a second.
Yeah, we do a lot of private investigations. So most of the time, the history we're getting is just from the clients, or if there's any city documents or anything that we can look up.
Yeah, some places, I mean, we investigate, and then, we have something happen that maybe we weren't told about that happened on the location. So then we have to start, digging into it and seeing, did what we have happened to us, was there something that happened in the past that could have sparked that to happen to reemerge itself while we're investigating. So.
Okay, yeah, because some people say they like to do the investigation then either before or after, so it's always a difference. Some people say before, going in there, so you kind of know what you're getting into. Some people say after, just because this way things start making sense after.
Mm-hmm.
I always wonder if people go in before or after. Here in Japan, we don't have vital records, so unfortunately, if you wanted to look a place up on the history, you can't. So it's basically you have to see if the neighbors know anything, word of mouth. If they don't, there's no way for you to find out the history on a place.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That'd make it difficult.
Well, it'd make it pretty fresh, though. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you the chance to start documenting that type of stuff then for records.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't have anywhere to store it or have it, just because it's, like I said, you can't get a library and research the building or vital records to see if something happened before that. We just don't have that here, or it gets destroyed. Because here, it's interesting here in Japan, a lot of the culture revolves around respecting your past loved ones. However, paranormal wise, they try to ignore. It's like their whole approach is that if something is haunted, you board it up and you ignore it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I might add that a lot of stuff that you might find you may not want to document it. You may not want to write it down because, yeah, it's pretty nasty, or it's pretty bad, or it's pretty scary, or it's pretty evil, horrible. Nope, not going there. Kind of like stuff.
Wow. Yeah,
And-
we haven't seen that much of that stuff here since I've been investigating. I mean, I know other teams have reported in different stuff like that, but we haven't came across anything like that yet. But I'm still the kind of person that if I have something going on like that, I'm still gonna go. I want to still see what's going on and try to figure it out. And
I do residentials too, and here on this side of Japan, yeah, you don't want to go there, or you don't want to go in there. Period. Like, bye. Like, okay, left turn. I'm out. It's just, yeah, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different vibe, right, Amanda?
Yeah.
It's some of it on her side. It's more. You could understand. You could feel the pain, or you could feel it more. But on this side, you just say, yeah, taking a right turn. I'm not gonna go there anymore. Or, yeah, this is as far as I'm gonna go. See ya. Like, yeah, that's how bad it gets on this side.
Yeah.
I live in the right in the middle of heart of Tokyo, and it's just like, you don't want to go to some places, or you just don't want to. Like, you'd rather have blindfolds instead. It's that
Wow.
as far as seeing anything haunted, yeah, go out the front door and you'll see everything haunted, right? And if you're a touchy-feely person like Emma and me, yeah, you feel everything, and it comes and sits in front of your face like this, and you can't breathe, you can't move out, you can't say yikes, because if you say yikes, it knows, right? And then you probably like don't offend it, don't say anything against it, just say, okay, I'm looking this way, bye. Like that. That's how bad it gets sometimes. And you just don't want to confront it. You don't want to talk to it. You don't want to look at it. You just keep your eyes down and go about your own business and do what you want to do.
Yeah, it sounds pretty horrible. I mean, we have had some places where we've gone to where we get the feeling of we shouldn't go in there, and then most of the time we listen to ourselves and we don't. But yeah, we've never encountered anything like that.
It's
Wow. Yeah.
It sounds like I need to go to Japan.
No, if he says no, then I would say no.
Yeah, I mean, visiting it and seeing certain history places is really cool. But there are other places that I advise you not to go to. If you go to, I'll take you, but you have to listen to me. It's my rules, or the highway.
Yeah,
and that's the way it is. Because I know how to keep myself safe, and I know where I can step, and I don't know, and I know where I don't have to step, or you shouldn't do. Okay, or you shouldn't go. It's just living here for a very long time and knowing the ins and outs and just having the feel for it, and you understand it. You know that there are boundaries that you cannot cross with them, and they have boundaries that they cannot cross with you, and it's very important to show them that right at the beginning. And you have permission. You ask permission, and then you are allowed to do that. If you don't, yeah, you're in trouble.
I guess we kind of investigate kind of like that too. When we go into a place and we always announce ourselves,
introduce ourselves,
and do introductions of who we are, why we're there, what our intentions are while we're there, things like that.
We always try to be very respectful towards the spirits.
Never do provoking,
no,
or anything like that.
The ones here will go after if you have a sore leg, they'll go after your sore leg. If you have lung problems, they'll go after your lungs. If you have any problems with your heart, they'll go after your heart.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I have knee problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got the bleeding bleeps kicked out of my knees, right? And ooh, like I couldn't even walk afterwards. There's no reason why. And when I left the area, I was okay. But yeah, it's like they'll just go after whatever. They'll see right through you and they say, okay, yeah, you got this wrong with you, right? Well, let's play punching ball with that. And they go, and you go, oh, please don't, please don't, please don't. Like you can hear exactly what they're thinking. I go, no, you're not gonna do this. But they do it anyways, and then you end up paying for it, and you go, painkiller, painkiller, ow, like this, and they won't stop until you leave.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I'm glad we
something.
haven't had anything like that yet.
Right.
Yeah, it's something. I'm so used to it living here, and yeah, you like. It's just different. It's just a different kind of atmosphere.
Mhm.
On her side, Amanda's side, they're kind of like old and sorry. You feel sorry for them. You feel sad for them. It's more like you give prayers to them. But on this side, you say, "Stay away from me," or "This is my realm. You come here, you're in trouble." Like that's how you have to act on this
Mhm.
side. So it's just like the whole different kind of viewing of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she said, she's in Tokyo. I'm in Nagasaki, which is at the very bottom of the main island.
Uh-huh.
So it's definitely a different go. So then the northern part of the island has their ghosts have their own different thing going on too. So it's so different
Yeah,
spirit wise throughout the whole island country.
yeah, and you'll see Okinawa was totally different too, right, Amanda?
Yeah, then
Oh,
Okinawa that's the only thing really below me is Okinawa.
mm-hmm.
They're their own little thing though too.
Yeah,
Okinawa is basically the U.S. version of Hawaii. You have to take a plane to get there. They
mm-hmm.
have their own culture and food and stuff. Same thing with Okinawa. It's part of Japan, but it's the culture's different than
Yeah,
the mainland too.
and
Food
you
and
have
culture is different.
the remnants of World War II
Mhm.
on Okinawa and all the little different islands like popover islands. It's just some of them are riddled with bones. Still, some of them are the government's trying to bring them back home again so they can put them to rest. But I mean, there's places even up to this time where there are bones all over the um coast, all over the sand in a different place near this place, but it's 3 hours. You can only take a boat there, but they have a military helicopter will pick up the bones and bring back to Tokyo and have them processed so the families can have them back again. But I mean, it's just like we're still trying to they're still trying to pick up the pieces after World War II, right? So
Yeah.
it's also haunted too a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been there.
Yeah,
My dog's been there.
because
There.
those
It's
spirits aren't at rest.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like you think after the war there'd be some peace, but it's a big mess, right?
Yeah.
And there's in Okinawa too. There's big mess too. It's still a big mess as far as I'm concerned. Um, as far as I'm concerned with spirits and everything else that's been haunted and caves and people's bones are in caves and they haven't been rested either. So you have patches of places where things happened and they're not going to be documented anywhere, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Right.
the older people. The older people will tell you. Like people are in their late 80s or 90s, they'll tell you. But other than that, good luck in finding anything.
Hmm.
And Amanda will agree with me with that one too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There is another haunted forest somewhere in Japan
Mm-hmm.
besides the main popular one that everyone knows. And
Mm-hmm.
it's supposed to be haunted by a samurai spirit, but they have it completely, and I've seen videos and pictures of it. They have it completely fenced off. It's a huge fence. There's no gates or anything, so you can't open because they're just like, yep, there's a samurai spirit. That's all you have to know. We're not gonna let anyone go in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just they don't really block it off. They put pine cone, they put cones in front of it, and they put a like a like a like a rope, or they'll use one of those things that they use when they're fixing the roads. Like one of those long poles. They'll do that. And they'll say, "You cannot enter this place without special permission. Do not enter." And it's like, yeah, you're not preventing us from entering it, right? You just need that just so you don't want anybody messing around in there, right? And
Other
getting,
places, yes, for some
yeah,
odd reason, that little forest area
yeah,
completely fenced off with a big fence.
yeah. It's
Wow.
just, yeah. And they got places with history prevails where Christians were crucified and left to die on the cross, and that's also haunted. One where Amanda lives, that one's also haunted, and the other one is in Kyoto. That's also extreme. That's even worse. That's the worst place to visit, and it's very haunted. And so it's always on that side of Japan, and not on this side, the east side, but it's more on the west side. And they had a lot of things that happened there that there's no history about it, but you'd have to read about it to find it. And if you read something, it's only going to be one paragraph.
If that, sometimes.
Yeah, not even that, right? Two
Yeah,
sentences, right?
sometimes sometimes the paragraph is generous. Sometimes you look something up, even like an urban legend, and it's like it might just say what it looks like and where they're usually found. That might be it.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of documentation of really anything then, huh? It's like they don't really want you to know
Mm-hmm.
the
No,
past.
Well,
And
you know, old places have a lot of history that has good and bad both together, right? So the bad part, they just erase it all with
Mhm.
like a plastic eraser and say, okay, we're not gonna tell anybody what happened here. Oh, we're not gonna tell anybody what happened here. And most of the stuff you just learn by urban legends or other people telling you, or older people telling you. That's all you're gonna learn from it, right? And sometimes I have to watch National Geographic when they go to Japan to watch it, because okay, that's not document. Okay, where's that document? Okay, it's not written anywhere. So I have to remember this program, and I have to keep it in my file because I won't be able to find it later on, and it's not going to be there.
See, I guess how we kind of look at investigating too.
Mhm.
One particular place that we're focused on right now is the Sioux City Railroad Museum where we
Mhm.
live at,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of history to the place. I mean,
Mhm.
it's from like the mid to late 1800s when it was built,
Mhm.
and had over 500 people that worked there at one time, but thousands of people worked there throughout the years that it was opened.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of history that is lost, too. So when we investigate it, we don't say that it's haunted. We say that it's still inhabited by the workers that work there or
Mhm.
the volunteers that volunteered there.
Yeah.
Uh, but we look at our investigations as we're finding and we're looking for and telling the untold stories
Mhm.
of that area. And a lot of times our investigations that we've been on, we always seem to come in contact with something or someone different
Mhm.
every time.
Mhm.
And if we're able to come up with a name of a person, then the person who owns the railroad museum, he can go back through articles and different things like that to find out,
Mhm.
did they have a connection? Is there a connection to the railroad? from that time period. And if there is, he's usually able to find it and find out what that person was about, what happened to him. So
Usually if we want to find something, sometimes I could look for through news articles on newspaper articles and stuff like that, what happened to a place, what happened to a building. I mean, that gives me enough information, but other than that, I'm luck.
and unfortunately too, you know, if you have certain areas where you've had a lot of tragic events that happened,
Yeah.
and you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a building in particular either. I
No.
mean, it's just the land itself.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have a building that may have had activity in it, you tear it down and the activity's still there, and you build something new, the activity's still there.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of times it's the land. You know, here we may have different areas where it may have been native land, native land, and you know, you could give them, you know, you could offer the spirits there, you know, something like a peace offering or something like that, to kind of settle down, and things like that. So something, things that we always look at.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's just hard to even fathom what was on the land and why it was sold and who developed something on that land. You go, oh my God. Like,
Yeah, they don't think about it. They don't think about it when, you know,
the impact that it has.
It's just not, you know, not just the spirits, but the people who don't know and who decide to live there afterwards, right? And they could be going through hell on earth because of that. And then, and it's just like, grab a brain. I'm like, oh, forgot they don't have one, right? Yeah. And then you're left like, it's up to us to help them, right? It's up to us to cleanse it. It's up to us to fix it. Like what? I'm sitting like, okay. It's like, like,
but that's the good thing too, though.
yeah.
You know, one of the other reasons why we got into the paranormal too was to help people, because people have things going on, and you know, I mean, I have a police scanner and stuff, and there's times where you'll hear different calls about somebody calling in saying that they think their house is getting broken into. The cops get there and they search and there's nobody there, and they're like, well, this happens a lot, you know, and stuff. Well, you know, they think their house is haunted, but yet then the cops are like, oh no, you're just, you know, you're just crazy, or it's just the wind or something. So they don't know,
or you're off your meds or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so they, you know, that's why we're here. You know, we put it out there that, you know, we're here to help people who have those kinds of issues on, so we can help them. We can help explain what's going on, how they can deal with it. If it's something that is, you know, that they need to worry about, or if it's, you know, just a spirit that is hanging out and just comes by randomly and visits and just, you know, wants you to know that they're there when they come by.
And sometimes those people just need validation that they're not crazy.
They
need somebody to understand that they're dealing with something. And sometimes it can be so overwhelming that they just don't know where to even start. So if we come in, you know, kind of fresh to the situation and kind of look things over, you know, maybe it's not paranormal, maybe it's something explainable, you know, but they're just so immersed into it that they just can't see their way out, you know.
And there's some people are in tears because they just can't. Help me, please, I don't know what to do. And they said, okay, you know, sit down, have a cup of tea, and let's talk, you know.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, that's all I can do. And then you get the other side, and you get the other side of America where people say, I got a demon in my house. I go,
Demon.
Spell the demons.
My thing with the demons is, you know, when somebody tells me that they have a demon, or that they have some type of demonic presence in their house.
Mm-hmm.
And we go and we investigate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's totally quiet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nothing happens. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself the whole time that, okay, if you have a demonic presence in your home,
Mm-hmm.
that demonic presence, that is going to be their territory.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to want anyone else in there. So they're going to do everything in their power to let you know that they're there and to try to get you out of there.
Yeah.
And, I think that's when you truly know that you have something demonic that's there, is when you have something that does happen. And you have
I only found one house that was like that, but the rest of them were just spirits,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're just angry spirits. They're either angry about something or they just want to get your attention and you're perceiving it as anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was an old house. There was a guy who had a lot of money, built this house by hand, and he didn't want to leave. And so, it's something like that happened, right? It's nothing demonic. It's nothing demonic. And they said, "Ooh, thank God it's nothing demonic." I said, yeah, I can guarantee it. This poor lady, she was like,
Ask him if they left any money laying around there.
Yeah, I studied basic demonology, and there was a demonologist. That's what he does. He goes around, he does those cases where people claim they have a demon. He did over 25,000 cases of people reporting demons, and he said, just put it in perspective, out of 25,000 cases, only less than 100 was actual demons. So more likely it's not a demon. And we did have another demonologist on the show, and they said, one of the people said, people ask me all the time, well, how do you know it's a demon? And he was just like, you'll know.
Yeah.
You won't have to ask if that's a demon. Trust me, you'll know.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And the only thing I found in that house was a guy who was buried in the wall and his body's still in the wall. But they're going to leave it there and they're going to flip the house. I go,
Oh.
That'll cause activity.
Uh-huh. And he comes in and out of the wall. And he's, no matter what I did, right? It ain't going to work. I know that. I did what I needed to do. That's it. And the lady's not going to do anything. So what is there left for me to do? I can't do anything more than that, right?
Right.
Did they take the body out?
She says she ain't going to touch it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can't tell them what to do, right? I can't tell them. I can only suggest that he needs to leave. You need to open up the wall, and you need to remove him from the wall. Because if you don't, he's gonna come in and out of the wall. No matter how much you flip the house, no matter what I do, it's not gonna help. I told him. So whatever you do, you have to remove him from the wall. You can get ultrasound. You can check that out first. We'll find out where he is, but he's still in the wall, And he was strangled and he was killed, and he's in the wall. Yeah, okay, fine. Well, I'm not going to do anything more, and I just fine. My case is closed. We're done. I mean, that's as far as I'm going to go, right? I suggested it. It was a good suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah. So all you can do is you can do your investigation, see what you find for evidence to either support or debunk anything that they have going on, and make your recommendations to them after that. And it's up to them whether or not they want to go through with those recommendations.
Yeah. I blessed the house. I blessed the property inside and out. I crossed over all the spirits that were in the house, and there were about 30 plus, and that was all I could do, right? I did my job. Case closed.
Yep.
And the thing is, like, she hasn't called me back yet. I don't know. Whatever.
I find what some people do, and that's that instance, is they don't like the recommendations or what
No.
you told them,
Mhm.
Yeah.
for your findings, so therefore what they're going to do is, now they're going to ghost you, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to find, they're going to call other paranormal groups to come in there and look at what they have going on and see what they have to say, until they
Oh.
find that person who's going to tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened before me, and it really made a big mess. I mean, it was a mess what they left, and I said, "Oh my God, what did they do here?" I looked and I said, "Dang, this is bad." I said, so I had to clean up their mess, what the previous team did, and I had to do what I had to do, and so it was a double trouble, right? And it took me 6 hours to finish everything up. I said,
Wow.
like I said, I'm gonna take a nap afterwards. I'm exhausted.
I bet
Yeah.
you were.
Yeah, I wasn't a paranormal hangover. It was just using everything that I had. I brought out all the things, all the guns, and I brought out all my guns. And I did everything, and I meditated for 3 days straight before that, and I knew what I was gonna have to do. I knew what I had to do. I didn't have to see the house. I didn't have to do that. I just had to go in there, in my mind. I just knew what I had to do, and I said, okay, yeah, this is a big mess.
Wow.
Yeah, it amazes me. Like, if you can't do the job, don't do it. Leave
And
it
if you don't
to
know what you're
somebody.
doing, find somebody who does.
Yeah, leave it to somebody who can help these
Mhm.
people. Don't make a mess, because if they make a mess, you have to clean it up, right?
Yeah. Well, some people don't realize that some paranormal teams actually make things worse
Yeah,
instead of better.
yeah,
I'm like, that's a possibility.
yeah.
I've seen it happen before.
Mm-hmm.
That they think they know better, and they do
Mm,
stuff like hold a seance or something. Don't close
yeah,
anything,
yeah,
and they just make this situation 10 times worse.
yeah.
Yeah. And, for us, I'll get people who will send me investigation requests and tell me about things that they have going on.
Mm-hmm.
When I have people who write to me and they tell me that they've have been experiencing things ever since they were a child,
Mm-hmm.
every place that they've lived in,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, has followed them,
Mhm.
place to place to place. And, for me, no investigation that I do is going to fix that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What they actually need is somebody who can break whatever attachment they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously something or someone is attached to them, and no
Mhm.
matter where they go and what they do, that person is going
Mhm.
to be, that entity or spirit is going to be attached to them. And I myself, I'm not, my group is not handled, is not equipped to handle situations like that. For us, it's, okay, you need to get a hold of either a priest, you need to get a hold of a Reiki master, somebody like that who has those tools or that tool set to be able to
Yeah.
work with you and to break that, because what I can do isn't gonna fix that for you. So yeah, you have to be careful what cases you take on and what
Yeah.
you agree to do, because you could end up over your head in something, and then you're
Yeah.
stuck, because now what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you really, I mean, we never want to make it worse for anybody.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then you get the other people who create havoc in their house. They fight a lot.
Yep.
They argue. They I don't know what they do, but they create this thing where they create this energy in their home, which is negative, and it creates whatever that comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
Poltergeist
get those
activity.
too.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's formed.
And we've come across some of those, and we come right out and we tell them, what you have is not something that is or was a living person. What
Mhm.
you have is something that has been manifested due to all the negative energy that you guys bring into the house. You know, if you're
Mhm.
fighting all the time,
Yeah.
arguing all the time over piddly stuff, and you let things boil over and they get, you know, to a bad point, and it's an ongoing constant thing, you know, and
Mhm.
especially if you have children in the house that are
Yeah.
you know, preteen teenagers,
Yeah.
and they're experiencing that stuff, so they're
Mhm.
bottling up all of this
Yeah.
energy too. So,
Yeah.
you know, eventually something's gonna snap, and then
Mhm.
you end up having things flying around your house that you don't want flying around your house.
Mhm. Yeah.
Stuff. And, you know, my recommendation for them people are, you know, you guys need to, you know, if you want this to stop and want this to go away, you got to stop fighting and arguing about everything all the time. Learn a way to cope with it and figure it out without fighting.
Mhm.
If you need to, go get counseling. Go to counseling and
Yeah.
stuff, because
Get therapy, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
because moving to a new location, a different house, because this house has got something going on in it, and move to a different house, and you're going to have the same activity because you're taking that same
It
energy
just
with
goes
you.
with you.
Yeah.
It follows with you, and the energy that you have follows with you.
Yeah.
And no matter how much you want to shake it off, it's still there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And until you fix it, until you fix that
your own
dynamic,
inner demons.
yep,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
going to have those problems.
Yeah. And what you are, what you create, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's really hard telling a client that, right?
It can be.
It is, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
at the same time, you want to be honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I think sometimes, you know, they may hear it from family
Mhm.
members and or even their kids. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
need to stop. You know, you need to stop doing that.
Mhm.
And they don't want to listen,
Yeah.
but then to have somebody from the outside come in,
Mm-hmm.
not really know the whole situation, but be able to pick up on that,
Mm-hmm.
and then relay it back to them. You know, this is what we get, and this is
Mhm.
what we think, you know, is going on. This is how you got to fix it. You
Yeah.
know, so you can do that, fix it, or you can not, and then you just have to keep dealing with what you've been dealing with, because nobody else is going to be able to help you.
Mm-hmm. The thing is that I usually tell my clients also is that do you have differences between you and your spouse or you and your children? They go, yeah. Well, stop it right now. And they go, what? Because that creates that whatever's in your house feeds off the energy that you're giving it to them.
Yeah.
So if you're angry or if you're fighting, if your kids are fighting in the house, they have to stop right immediately. And they go, oh, does that make the problem worse? Yeah, it makes the problem worse.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you more unhappy, and it makes your spouse more unhappy. It makes your kids more unhappy. If you have to go on vacation for a week and just release your inner energy and just clear your heads and just go for just if you have to go to Disney, go to someplace that's fun, or go to someplace that creates happiness in your life. You and
Kitty.
yeah, and yeah, I know you heard me. Okay, I heard you. Now sit down and go to bed. I mean, yeah, it's just like find a happy place to go to, and you know, and do that for a week. Just get rid of all your stress that you have. Stress creates bad energy too, so get rid of your stress also, and you might find that you're cleansed inside. You might feel better about whatever you do. So yeah, that's another thing that you should tell them to go on vacation.
Yeah.
When you come back, call me and then I'll help you.
Yep.
Yeah, but most people don't want to hear, because at that point they're just like, well, the issue might be you and your emotions. No one wants to hear they might be the issue, though. They want, like, no, there has to be something else in here. It cannot be me. It cannot be our emotions. It can't be the fighting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So let's
you know,
just call someone else to
those
tell
are
them
the people that
what we
can't
said
help.
earlier, what they want to hear.
Yep.
Yeah. And they'll go to 50 investigators and they'll say all the same thing, right?
Or they get the run of the mill crackpots who come in and like she said, do seances and do Ouija boards and do all
Oh
this different
gosh.
stuff, and doesn't fix anything, but then end up making everything
Worse.
all that
Or
worse
Mhm.
because you already had the bad energy, from all the fighting and everything, and now you just open up all these portals to who knows where and who knows what, and now you got everything that's even worse. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And you don't close it after you open it,
Yep.
right?
yep,
I've had a lot of teams do that where they open portals and then leave because they don't actually know how to close them.
mm-hmm. Yep, and that's why we tell people don't mess with
With
things that you
things.
don't know
Mm-mm.
about.
Yeah.
Mess with Ouija boards. Don't do seances, and do that kind of stuff. That leave that to professionals who know exactly what they're doing. Just because you
Problem is,
something.
they've seen it in a movie, so they're like, I can do that. And they do what they did in the movie, and it's just like, that's Hollywood. That's not real. There's,
Exactly.
I mean, there are people who do it, yes, but they've also studied how to do it, studied how to close it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
studied what, if something goes wrong,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
what to do compared to you.
Mm-hmm.
Some people out there do the seance, not close the door, or in the middle of the seance, will hear noise like a door slam shut or something, then run out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. It's Ugh.
Yeah.
Like,
Better not to mess with it. Leave it
Right.
alone.
yeah. It's just, and some people go into haunted houses, right? Or they just want to have the thrill of it, and they come out and say, "Uh-oh." What'd you do? And they go, "Uh-oh." Like that's where'd you go?
End up getting more than what you bargained for sometimes.
Yeah. Like, if you don't know what the heck you're doing, don't go in there, please. Sometimes I had to scold. I got mad at a paranormal investigator for going someplace that they shouldn't have gone. I said, "You bleep 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 bleep." I was cussing, and I was going overboard. I know I should have used more better judgment, but man, now I have to get rid of what you got. And I said, "No, what'd you do? Where'd you go? No, what the heck did you do when you go there?" And they go, "Oh, I just went this. I just blah, 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 this. No, I didn't mean anything." I said, "Uh-huh." Yeah, right. And I'm going, oh. And the thing is in the bedroom, right? You see, likes to hide in the bedroom or in the bathroom, right? Think, yeah, you owe me after this one.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want something hiding in my bathroom.
No.
Yeah, like they're in the mirrors in the bathroom, they're everywhere, and they go, yeah,
Yeah, that's my space.
yeah, really? Okay. They said, "Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to go there." Yeah, well, what the heck were you doing there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
I've
have to
seen some of those shows on TV where,
yeah.
what is it? Paranormal Caught on Camera is one of the,
Mhm.
and I've seen some from over in Japan and stuff like that where people go to these locations and they're like, people say that these are really haunted, but I just wanted to see. And they just go in there and just start walking around. They're not really asking anything. They're just walking around and checking out the location, and everything that's in there, and end up getting the crap scared out of them, and they take off running because they had no idea what to expect when they went in there, and they got probably the fright of their life, and hopefully would never decide to do something like that again. So you live and learn.
There's the things about that, right? Sometimes some places in this country are really bad, and houses too. So if you go there and the spirit's really pissed off with you, right? They will make sure that you don't live till tomorrow. And that has happened to a couple young people who went someplace. They were college explorers, okay? They're about 23, 24 years old. This guy and a bunch of friends went to this particular place, and they interviewed him after where they went to, and this guy said, I have to go to the hospital the next day. He wound up being admitted into the hospital. The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, and he wound up in a box. And that's why I don't post these explorer videos on my group. I just don't. Like, you don't know what's going on there. And my son, my eldest son, who's also he's worse than I am. He sees more things than I do. And he said, do not use this video, do not watch this number what was it, number 18? He said number 17 and number 18 video, do not watch it. And do not share it. I said, okay, I won't. He said, it's that bad. I said, yeah, okay. And I listened to him, right? And it's my responsibility not to do stuff that's stupid, right?
Yeah.
Not to share videos that are bad or that have not been blessed by a Buddhist priest or anything like that, like a clergyman, right? You just don't post them, and that's why you'll never see anything like that in my group, because I'm responsible for what goes in that content and what goes in that group, and what people see. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And people ask me, why don't you post scary videos about haunted places you've been? I said, yeah, not doing that. Sorry. And they said, why not? I said, yeah, do you want to wind up in a pine box? And they go, no. And they go, well, you should post it because Japan is really scary, really haunted. I go, I know that, but I'm just being more responsible than you think, right? And they don't get it. So I'm not going to explain it to them either.
Yeah.
And they'll probably ask Amanda the same
They're not going to
question.
understand.
They'll probably turn around and ask Amanda, why don't you post anything content about Japan? Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that. We're more responsible people in this country. We don't do stupid stuff like that, right?
A lot of those videos too, what you find out, those people broke into those places to
Mm-hmm.
be able to say they were in there, take a video in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people ask me, why don't I go there? And I'm like, because they broke in. I'm not.
Yeah.
More like with my luck, if I did that I'm gonna get caught by a cop.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Right. And that's the thing here too, is we tell people, who want to get into investigating, is you don't ever go to a location and just go in it without permission. You always get permission before you do it.
Yeah. It's even though it's free in this country, they don't charge anything, but you just have to use your wits with you.
Yeah.
Right.
And make sure you know what the heck you're doing before you go in a place like that.
Right.
It's just, it can be really dangerous too, Even though you may be a paranormal investigator, I usually pick and choose which ones I can go into and which ones I don't touch. It's the same thing with spirits. The ones I do touch, the ones I don't touch, I just say, take a number. Like, sorry, I can only help certain ones that I can, and certain ones I won't. Oh dear, we're talking about paranormal. Look at this, right?
I mean, I'm not saying I never went into an abandoned place without permission, but now, when you get older, you're just like, no, because something could have happened to me, or I could have been caught and arrested.
Yeah.
A lot of people also don't realize if you break into an abandoned location and if you film yourself in there, they can still, even though you didn't get caught that night, they can still use that as evidence and arrest and charge you later.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, they can.
Because you just done told on yourself and you gave them all the proof they needed to convict of it. So,
And there are a lot of explorers from America that come to Japan and they don't ask permission, and they go all these other places and they take this video and they're hiding from police. I think Amanda knows who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I've seen the videos because it was someone bigger too in the YouTube, and people are like, "Well, they were able to go there." And I'm like, "Yeah, but did you also see part of the video where they saw a police car or a policeman go by and they're hiding from them? That I am not gonna get caught doing that, okay?
Yeah.
No.
Like they're
No,
lucky they were not caught."
No. And it's just like I know that they want to go there. I know Japan is very haunted. I know that they think that it's really interesting seeing certain places that are very haunted, and curiosity kills a cat, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But make sure you're safe when you go in a place like that, and you just don't go willy nilly, in a abandoned building or an abandoned house. You just mm-mm. Like uh, if we get approached by a member who would ask us if we would take them there, we yeah, like what would you say, Amanda?
The abandoned places,
or haunted places, what would you say
the
if they
haunted
approached
places.
us and said, okay, take us there?
As long as we had permission, I'd go. But if we don't have permission, I'm not risking it.
No, it's just really hard. Usually the local police department, if you ask them really nicely, they'll give you permission. The reason why they don't want you go there is they don't want anything bad happening to you,
Mhm.
right.
because
Yeah.
they know it's bad.
Right. They don't want you
They
to.
know they
Right.
know if they know something happened there, right?
Mhm.
And they don't want to bring you out in a pine box. That's why they don't want to do that. And
Yeah.
I can understand that too, but I mean, because we're not greenies, okay? We know what we're doing, and we know our limits. So if you tell them that we're professionals and we know what we're doing and we can go there, we want to investigate, and we're going to be very careful, and we're only going there for a certain amount of hours or so. That's the main thing. But I mean, yeah, if you don't speak the language, if you don't know how to do this right, it can be dangerous.
Well, a
Mhm.
lot of them still say no because they don't want to use the resources of the manpower to find you if you don't come back. But
Exactly.
also, like the abandoned places, obviously they're not upkept, so
Yeah,
no one wants to be responsible if you get hurt.
yeah,
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
Because if you fall through the floor, I mean, who's responsible?
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, 100%.
What is the most scariest place that you've been to?
Oh, I would have to say for me, just feeling wise, was probably Waverly Hills in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to me, the worst place in that whole entire building was the death chute or the body chute.
Body shoot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout that whole entire building, there was not one single place that I felt like I should not be there, except for the body chute.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we got in there for the tour part, and we're just standing there looking down, I'm just like, God, I should not be in here. I want out of here. Let me go. I want out. And then I end up being the last person out. So, I was not a fan of that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, other than that, I don't think I've ever come across anything yet that has scared the crap out of me.
Mm-mm.
What is the most interesting place that you'd like to go back to?
We're going there. It's called the McIntyre Villa.
Ooh.
And it's in Atchison, Kansas, and
Ooh.
there last year. It's an old Victorian style mansion,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like 1889, I think, is when it was built,
Yeah.
and it had some suicides and deaths in it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
to which we didn't really know about the suicide stuff
Mm-hmm.
uh, until our second night. We were there investigating, and we had thunderstorms with lightning and heavy rain, and it's probably about 9:30 at night, and all of a sudden there's like a group of ladies up on the second floor doing some EVP stuff and video, and then there's another group that I was with. We're downstairs in the dining room area at the table playing audio and listening to stuff, and all of a sudden we hear this loud bang like a gunshot just resonate.
Wow.
Mhm.
And
But you know, you had an environment, you had like the environment of the rain and
yeah,
the thunderstorm created just the right
yes,
Yes,
cocktail
it did.
it
to
brought
create
all those
that,
elements
right?
together
Mhm.
that was able to replay an event that happened
Yeah.
around that same time of night when one of the owners of the home shot and killed himself on the second floor.
Wow.
And we didn't know that until after the experience happened. We called the lady who owned the house, and she was able to go back on her security cameras and for inside, find the audio and find the video for that, and sent it to us. And I mean, it was loud. I
Yeah,
mean,
it shook the house.
we got up and we're like looking around and we're hollering upstairs, was that you guys? And they're like, no, we thought it was you guys. And we're looking outside and seeing if there's anybody out there. We even as much as called the police department to find out if they had any reports of shots fired in the area, and they hadn't. So for us, that was quite an event because all of us experienced it all at the
and I
same
think there was
time.
about 12 of us there. So yeah, we all experienced that event.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're going back for round number 2 this year.
A couple of weeks here.
Oh, that sounds interesting. I mean,
That would be interesting. I knew someone who had a similar experience. They were investigating a place and they were in one room. And I've seen the footage of it where all of a sudden they just heard in the house, in the room, in another room nearby, they heard a really loud bang noise. But no one else was in there. The cameras in the hallway outside didn't see it, didn't pick up any movement. They walked around. They could not figure out what that sound was.
Yeah.
They even checked to make sure that did someone like come into the place that we didn't know, and they were checking the cameras. No one else entered.
Yeah, those are the great pieces of evidence to capture.
I had my friend sleeping in a hotel room. It was the Menger Hotel in Austin, Texas. And the room guy who was really loose with his gun shot off his gun in the room, and it was just a spirit. And he liked his 6-shooter, and as you're sitting in the room, I was watching him through my messenger. We were on FaceTime, and I could hear the bang bang with the gunshots. I said, okay, what was that? And he said, oh yeah, that must have been the guy who died in the room, and he's shooting off his gun trying to hit somebody with his bullets. No, he's dead. He doesn't know that, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that happens. It's really interesting. You can hear it as plain as day. And yeah, and you say, what was that? And he said, I don't know. Was that you? Nope, that wasn't me. And I said, what was that? Okay, that sounds like a gun went off, right?
That's what makes you start looking and following things around, following and seeing if you can pick it up and where it was at. And, then you got to start looking at the history and see what you can do with that and put pieces together, put puzzle pieces together, basically.
Yeah, it was really interesting. There's another hotel that's really interesting too in that area. It's the Emily Morgan Hotel, which was an insane asylum long time ago, but they turned it into a hotel.
Brave people.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Hilton owns it now, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and the 11th floor is where the doctor went. I saw it. I just saw it. Just looking at the picture the whole time. Yeah. And the morgue is where the swimming pool is. And you go,
Oh no.
like,
Where the swimming pool is.
Oh, jeez.
yeah. You're going
Wow.
HHHSSS, right?
Right.
You're saying all these words coming out of your mouth. And yeah, and they had to shoot like Waverly Hills, where after the after the person died on the operating table, they had to shoot. And the bodies went right down to the morgue from the 11th floor, and you go,
Wow.
Oh.
and they didn't take care of them. They just like throw them down the chute, and yep, and they wound up in the morgue, and the guy would take the the body from the chute and bring it in and throw it in the refrigerator. Yeah, I mean they made a hotel of that place. Would you believe it?
That's nuts.
Oh man, I said I want to go to that hotel just out of curiosity, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know
But
if I swim in though.
but the 11th floor
Right.
is really
Yeah.
bad because that's where all the operating rooms were, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, like talk about charged energy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
think,
you
right?
you figure what those places are built out of, back then, a lot of stuff was built out of slate
Yeah,
and
uh,
granite and,
yeah,
and limestone and,
yeah,
all that. So all those things are going to be absorbing all that energy that was in there. So, yeah.
and the
Yeah.
Alamo was right next door to that, right? Where they had the big, fighting is right next door to that, and you could see it, and it's just like, yeah, like the whole area is like pretty bad, pretty haunted, right? And all the hotels are all like there is no hotel in that area that's not haunted, okay? And you're going, whoo. Like, I'm saying, okay, I gotta take a rest after and think of why. Because my head is thumping. It's like got a headache. I'm feeling all this energy. I'm feeling all the things that happen to these people, and it's going through my body. I'm thinking, okay, we gotta take a break.
Yeah. Wow.
And the only problem is being touchy feeling. You can feel everything that happened to you, right? It's just like you feel like you're a rag, like you're a washcloth, right? You're being
Yeah.
all at once. You're saying, no, don't want to do this. No, don't want to see this. No, 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 no. Like, but you are, you can't stop it. And they're not going to stop making you feel this thing. And it's just one thing. Like, you thought Waverly was bad. You should go there and see that place and see that hotel. Oh, man. Oh, man. Like, that's one place where I want to go. And that's one place that's pretty nasty haunted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something that needs to be put on our bucket list.
Yeah. Yeah. You should like it. It's a really nice hotel, right? They made it really nice, and yeah, I've got pictures of it too in my iCloud, and I go sometimes I just go like flip through and I go, okay, now look, like my iCloud's full of haunted places, right? And haunted pictures. Like, yeah, I'm just flipping through it. Okay, look at something nice, like, yeah, it's just crazy about some of these places that are they made hotels from it, right? And they made makes you wonder, right? What were they
Oh,
thinking?
yeah. Well, they weren't thinking. They was thinking about the money they make from it being a hotel, and they
Yeah,
just got extra entertainment with it.
yeah. You don't need your TV set anymore, right?
Oh, for sure.
Some
Imagine
places,
watching.
a lot of
Yeah,
hotels though, like that reputation of being haunted because they can charge the haunted rates, knowing people like us are gonna check in.
Yep,
hmm
exactly. Yeah. We have a couple hotels around us that we haven't been to yet, but
Mhm.
I've heard about nothing bad, not like anything scary
Mhm.
or anything that's going to hurt you, but definitely has activity in them that we definitely want to go check out. I mean, they're only a couple hours away from here, so one of
Sounds
these days
interesting.
when things slow down.
Sounds interesting. I'd like to see the picture of that place. You know.
Yeah.
There are some locations though that try to fake evidence. So
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
paranormal teams will come in and they'll try and get them to say that the location is haunted just so they can, brag and be like, oh well, Para 911 said that they had activity just to try and be able to get those rates. Because there was one hotel, I'm not gonna name the name, but claims to be haunted. The staff claims it to be haunted. I went to go visit it. I didn't stay there. I went to go visit it. Walked inside, and I didn't feel anything, and I'm just like, "Are you sure?" Well,
Mhm.
the staff says they're constantly getting activity, and I'm like, "I don't believe it."
Mhm.
And I'm looking for any other stories besides staff, and I'm like, "I'm not seeing any other stories."
Mhm.
right.
I feel like guests would be posting on there, "Yeah, door shuts by itself," or "I experienced this." I'm not
Mhm.
seeing it. I'm like, "Yeah, I just
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
feel like you guys are saying that to fill rooms."
Or
Right.
are they just doing it just to make reputation so they can so they can have a whole bunch of people stay at the hotel, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they charge a lot
Yeah.
of money for it.
charge a lot
Oh
more.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. Those places I kind of tend to stay away from that want
yeah.
lots and lots and lots of money to go in there to investigate. Uh,
Mm,
yeah, because a lot of times you're going to spend that kind of money and you're going to go there and have
mm,
absolutely nothing happen, and it's just it was an off night.
Yeah,
They they just weren't active. We had a big investigation the night before.
mm,
Uh, and I have I've kind of voiced this with my team and on other podcasts too
mm,
about a lot of these big places that get investigated a lot. I think
mm.
some of them get over investigated,
Yeah.
and if you do have spirits there or had spirits there,
Mm,
you could be making it to the point where they don't want to communicate, so therefore they're
yeah.
going to hide back in the shadows again and
Yeah.
not go out and
Mm,
not try to communicate because they're just bombarded all the time.
mhm.
And you know they were a living breathing person too at one
yeah,
time, so they too have feelings and stuff, and I'm sure they get tired of being
Mm-hmm.
bombarded daily with
Mhm.
people investigating, so I could see that affecting activity big time in those locations.
Mhm. Yeah. Like
they do.
yeah.
Some of my old favorite locations. I was talking to psychic mediums who were there after I am, and they were like, "Yeah, the spirits are starting to get really tired of the investigations because people walk in, it's almost like same thing, different night, different people to them. Same
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
question, same thing, and it's just after a while they're like, okay, and they just they do get tired of it real
Yeah.
fast too.
And to me, that's why the private residential stuff is to me more interesting than a lot of these big names places that are have activity in them, because you have a private residential location where not a lot of people have been through there, if
Yeah,
any, for investigating. So everything that you capture and that you're able to document is all first time occurrences that you're able to document, and you're not going by hearsay or having a preconceived notion of what you should expect when you go there.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes it all that much better um, for investigating. It gives you more of an understanding of, this is why I'm in it. This is why I want to do this, because I want to know
Mhm.
what's after. we leave our bodies? What's there?
Mhm.
And you know, you're able to document that.
Mhm.
I knew teams who I recommended places that were not as popular yet, but coming up. But a lot of teams don't want to investigate those places. They pass it. They just pass on it, and they go to these more popular places. But I'm like, why? That doesn't
Mhm.
mean more or better evidence.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
No.
It doesn't even mean you might catch something that night because they're just like they were people. They do get tired of it. Why? I was like, why don't you go to these less popular places? Why does it have to be popular already for you to even consider going to?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, for us, it's like the McIntyre Villa. I had never heard of the McIntyre Villa until a group that we work with out of Omaha mentioned it, and never had been there before. So we went. Another place is Melbourne Manor. You know, we've heard about it and stuff, but never been there. And our first time going there, it was just like, wow, you know,
Mhm.
the amount of stuff that we experienced there was just crazy. And again, those are places that aren't hit or hadn't been hit a lot.
A couple of years
Um,
ago, they
yeah,
hadn't been. They are
recently
now.
they have been.
Yeah, they're
You know,
pretty popular now.
once a location hits TV and gets put on a show, you know, then people just want to go. And
Yeah.
you know, it just gets bombarded after that. So, but yeah.
That definitely should not be the case, but unfortunately, it is in the paranormal
Mhm.
world.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like, oh, they got that kind of activity. We need to go.
Yeah. And everyone's hopping in their cars, they're all racing to go there, and it's like you're just shaking your head, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like I paid that much money for all this for
Yeah,
nothing.
that's also the other issues because now it's more popular. They can charge more, and like you're paying a lot of money for you to make for you to basically say you were there.
Mhm.
A lot of times is what it is.
Mhm. Right.
Mhm.
Because I'm not seeing more evidence coming out of these places. You basically paid a lot more money just to be able to say you went there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty much.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
Go there, take your pictures, do some video, ask some questions,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah. There goes your $50 or there goes your $100, right?
Right. Exactly.
Now, $100 is cheap for a lot of those places, though, Irene. You don't even know.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
those places cost over $1,000 just
Yeah.
to rent for a few hours.
Yeah, like Missouri State Penitentiary, I think that was like
It was
$1,500, and you could
Oh
have
gosh.
10 or 12 people
Yeah.
in there.
But that's when you have to take a big group.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you
'cause-
can't afford to go.
yeah,
No.
exactly.
And you better hope people don't flake out because that's a
Right.
lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like USS North Carolina, Irene. If you wanted to go rent there for however many hours they do, because it's not completely overnight either. It's only
No.
for like a certain amount of hours. USS North Carolina is 1,100.
I
Yeah.
know. I've been there. I did the investigation on that. I was one of the people who did that investigation on there, and it was really busy, to tell you the truth. It was extremely haunted, but they had a lot of people that were going together, right, as a group.
Mhm.
So
You
all
have to 1,100.
yeah,
Mhm.
they had to split up the cost between so many people who went there.
yeah,
I
and then
think it
you
was
can't stay overnight. I mean, that really bites because you just paid all this money to
Plus,
go.
you traveled.
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that means
You have to
hotel.
also buy a hotel, but you also probably need to do the hotel for 2 nights because by the time you're getting back to hotel, it's early in the morning.
Right.
So at least 2 nights of the hotel.
Yeah.
yeah. And you gotta eat too. You gotta,
Right.
you know,
It
pay
gets.
gas or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. It comes to a lot of money, right? Afterwards.
Mhm.
Yep.
I heard Alcatraz was about 500.
That would be a cool place to
Yeah,
go
I
to.
would probably pay
Yeah.
500 to go to Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the place is massive, and with every, you have all the elements there
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
for paranormal activity.
Mm-hmm.
You have the chaos, the day-to-day chaos that would have went on there. You have
Mhm.
the materials that are on the island itself, what the buildings are built
All the
out of,
trauma.
and
Yeah.
then you have the
Emotion.
water and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would, yeah, and
Yeah.
the history.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
got all the
Yeah.
makings of having some good
Mhm.
stuff there. So
Yeah.
it's so isolated.
Yeah. It's
Too.
yeah. It's a very interesting place to go to, I think. Plus you feel so isolated. You feel so, I don't know, it's like a whole different feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like loneliness and very
Yeah, stand there on the shore and look
Mhm.
over way in the distance and see
Mm.
land, and you're just like, how do I get there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not swimming.
Apparently it's the most coldest, the most darkest place to visit.
Mm.
I could believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the creepy part of it is that the inmates who died will come out and react to you, right?
Oh, and they
That's-
do. At Missouri State Pen, I know we had it was myself and another guy walking on one of the tiers
Mhm.
of the cell blocks, and as we're walking, I could hear other footsteps behind us. We had tennis shoes on, so our tennis shoes that we have on aren't going to make as much noise as somebody who's got hard sole shoes on walking
Yeah.
on the streets.
Yeah.
We're walking, and you could literally hear hard sole shoes walking behind us.
Mm-hmm.
We would stop, we'd turn around and we'd look, and nobody'd be there. We'd retrace our steps, go around the corners and everything, and ain't nobody there. There's nobody hiding in a cell or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, they like to let you know they're there.
Mm. Angry spirits.
lot
Yeah,
of-
that's one of the things that I don't like. Like
I feel like a lot of prisons have that because I investigated a prison that had that too.
Mhm.
Luckily, it was just me and it was me and another girl at this
Mm.
whole county jail.
Mhm.
So they say that they're different towards the men because it was
Mhm.
like a man's jail. So the females they don't hurt, but the men might be a different story.
Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah. If you take a female and you introduce them into what was all male facility, then yeah, the women are probably going to experience a lot of other things that a guy's not going to experience in there. They're going to definitely probably feel the presence of being watched and
Groped.
being around,
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
touched, and different stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
And if you're a male, you'll probably get scratched.
Yeah,
you
because
get more aggression.
they don't want you. They don't want you there. They want
Yeah.
you out of the way.
Yeah. I think, and then you get your bad negative spirits too that are there also. So yeah, I think that could happen too.
Mm-hmm. And,
So-
and you do have some places where you go to, like you're saying, the bad spirits. Obviously some of these people were in prison, and
Yeah.
they're not in prison because they was nice people,
No.
right?
Right. Right.
So some of them may act out and may scratch you, and some people I think are going to turn around and take that as it was something demonic because you got scratched, and it just because you got scratched, it's not always demonic. It could be a spirit who is acting out, misbehaving, and just wanting to get your attention or cause you harm because you're in their space, and hey, this is mine, and they're gonna let you know it.
Yeah.
That's one thing we always say on this show. However you were in life, that's how your spirit is in death.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you was miserable when you was alive,
You're
Yeah.
You're
miserable.
cranky,
miserable when you're dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Violent when you were alive, probably violent when you were dead.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yep,
And that's what I can imagine with being in jail is they're probably, I'm not saying everyone is violent, but at least the anger from a lot of them too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
yep. And then you probably have some of your people who were sent to prison who probably shouldn't have been sent to prison too. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially then.
they're gonna be pretty angry about that too.
Because back then they didn't have anything with DNA, or they didn't have any proper investigative tools. They
Right.
just, well, person saw you doing that, so you're gonna go to jail.
Yep.
Right. A lot of it was that way.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. And there's,
Misidentification, send you to jail forever.
yeah, and there's no ifs or buts about it, especially, and that could happen if you're sensitive too. Like,
Mhm.
they'll send you to a mental institution, right? Because you could see spirits and they say, oh, you're schizophrenic.
Yep.
They put you with medication, and that's how you died.
Yep.
And the sad part is that yeah, you're told that you're crazy because you could see spirits or you could hear spirits, and yeah, that was happened to you, and that was it. You couldn't argue about it, and the psychiatrist say, okay, yeah, you're a menace to society because um you you claim you could hear spirits, or you claim you could see spirits, or stuff like that. So no, no.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
I mean, if you look at history,
Mm-hmm,
and you can trace it back forever.
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm,
anybody who ever talked about seeing spirits
mm-hmm,
or ghosts or things like
They
that,
were always
mm-hmm.
like
they were either labeled a
Mhm.
witch, or they were labeled like a
insane
demon,
or
or
insane.
something
Mhm.
not good, and
Mhm.
they were usually killed for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put away in a home.
Yeah, or put away someplace where
Mhm.
they were never seen again.
yeah.
You know, I mean, like the stuff that we do today as paranormal investigators.
Mm-hmm,
If we were doing that kind of stuff, back in ancient times,
Or
mm-hmm.
even
you know,
1800s.
we wouldn't
Yeah,
be sitting here talking today
No.
about it. We'd be
yeah,
either dead or locked up somewhere to where we couldn't talk about it, and probably be dead or heavily medicated,
mm-hmm.
and
On
Yeah,
trial for being a witch.
yep,
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
burned at the stake. And I like
yeah.
steak, but I don't want to be burned at one.
No.
No, no. Yeah. Something, it hasn't changed much here in Japan
Mm.
because we don't talk about what we do. We have this podcast, right, where we can talk about it.
Hmm.
But if you go out in the street and you say that we do this, they're gonna say, you need to go to a hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this country has so much good and bad all mixed together that they don't want to know what happened. Young
Mhm.
people, especially. So yeah, I just sit here and keep quiet.
That's the really bad thing about history, is that if
Yeah,
you bury the history and you don't teach the history and talk about the history and pass
yeah,
the history on to other generations, history ends up repeating itself
Usually
oh
the
yeah,
bad stuff. Yeah.
because they didn't know
mm-hmm,
about what happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm,
Therefore, they start going down that road that somebody else went down,
mm-hmm,
and the same results again. And
mm-hmm.
it's, they didn't know about history, where if you know about the history, you're like, oh, we want to stay away from that. We don't want to go there again. We don't want to recreate something
Mhm.
that happened in the past that didn't go right,
Mhm.
and caused a lot of,
Yeah.
death, destruction, and everything else.
Yeah.
So, that's why they always say history has a way of repeating itself, and that's because it's not talked about. It's not passed along.
No.
That's kind of what I'm worried about because I know back in America, especially in the South, all the statues from the Civil War, especially from the Confederate side, they've all been taken down.
Yep.
And if you talk to kids about what they learned about the Civil War, they're teaching less and less about the slavery.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
Like to kids understanding, it was Civil War is mostly about distribution of wealth, where the North had it and the South wanted it. I'm like, there's something else with that. I'm surprised they're not teaching you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That goes with them removing all the statues as we're just acting like slavery never happened.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
I'm just like, yeah, I know it was horrible, but acting like we didn't do anything is probably not the right.
No.
No, it's not.
But then it's funny because people in Germany, it is required in part of their school to go to Holocaust museums, go to concentration camps, and I'm just like, that would never be the thing here in
Right.
America, but over there in America, just because
Yeah.
I guess now we're trying to act like it never happened.
Yeah. We actually have over here at the Sioux City Railroad Museum, they actually have a Holocaust exhibit there inside the train museum. It's not it's more focused around like the rail cars type thing, you know, because you know a lot of those people they loaded up in rail cars and said they was taking them to you know a certain place or whatever, and then they end up at these concentration camps, you know, with the showers and all that stuff, and never left there. And so that's kind of what they're displaying, you know, is how they were transported, how they were treated, and the conditions and stuff like that that they had to live in. You know, that in itself, you know, to me would create a type of energy that you're going to pick up on and be able to feel it, you know, because of what those people went through.
I agree.
And
But it's still part of history, so it's one of those things where, yeah, I know history is not always good, but hiding it is not going to resolve anything.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because
what
is history is not all good stuff.
No.
It's you know, it's not good things. History is about the bad things that happened that we either learned from or need to learn from.
Yep. I agree with that one. Because they had I was listening to a person who was a teacher, and she taught her elementary children about internment camps and how bad it was. And because if you look at it, there's no such thing as studying about internment camps in America. And no kids even knew that it existed. And there was a lot of deaths too that happened too. So yeah, it's like people were beaten also, and that's not part of American history, and that's not part of American studies either.
No, it's not.
And there are special teachers that will come out and will teach their children about what happened, and that would be the first time where kids ever learned about what happened. So you know, like, yeah, it's really sad, but it's something that I think everybody needs to know when and what happened and see. And there are pictures that did come out of that too, that people did have in their family, and we able to share with the teachers, so the teachers could show the students what happened. And a lot of kids were very oblivious to even know what happened, right?
Yeah.
So It's something that we all have to learn.
Yeah.
And probably never do it again.
Yes.
Right.
Hopefully.
That would be the hopes,
Yeah.
to not see
But-
it again. But unfortunately, looking at the state that America is in right now,
hmm
I think it's probably fair to say that we're probably heading in that direction again.
Yeah.
But,
Like history has a way of repeating
Yep.
itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're heading in that direction of maybe civil wars and stuff like that, breaking out again because of the way government's going and things
Yeah.
are being done and how things are being handled, and
Yeah.
caused issues in the past, and it's going to cause issues again.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame too. That's why I kind of like I'm real an advocate against atomic bombs, okay?
Mhm.
Because my mother died, okay? She was in Hiroshima during the World War II, and they ran away from Tokyo, and they thought going there would be safer, but then she got sick. As she got older, she got really sick, and she came down with cancer, and it killed her. But yeah, just saying, oh, that doesn't do that. And they say, oh yeah, you want to make a bet,
Mhm.
and that's why I'm trying to educate people. But young people really, you're not into learning anything. They're worried about their cell phones and getting their nails done or whatever. Like, okay, so much for that idea. All right, yeah. It's just
So do you guys make it over to the United States much?
I haven't been since we left like a year and a half ago. We
Mhm.
probably won't for a little while because there's more countries over here we'd rather visit. But like you
Mhm.
said, America's not really in the best
Yeah.
It's
best
not.
place right now. The government, what everything's going on with that economy, it's starting to tank over there too.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Everything's gotten expensive. I mean,
Very
it's just,
Yeah.
we live in Iowa, and it used to be like in our town that we live in, the
Mhm.
most expensive house that you could buy was maybe in the mid $200,000 range, right?
Mhm.
That was considered a very expensive house at that time. But you could
Mhm.
buy other houses that were pretty decent for 60, 70, $80,000 and get a really nice decent house. And now you can't touch a decent looking house that's not falling apart for
Mhm.
under $170,000. And we have
Mm.
now that are $500,000 or even $1,000,000. And I just look at them and I'm like, really?
I don't know.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just crazy how things have gotten, and again, it goes back to history. It goes back
Mhm.
to history,
Yeah.
you don't run things correctly and you don't learn from the past, and you just
Mhm.
doing things that aren't good, then yeah, we're gonna end up having way more spirits running around.
It's more for us, I think, right?
Yeah.
I
It's
think,
not just for anyone. It's like, well, I'm not buying a house. It's not just
yeah.
buying a house though over there. It's more also people now online comparing how much they spent on groceries and what all they got compared to a few years
Mhm.
ago.
Mhm.
Right.
2 years ago, $100 would get you almost a whole cart worth of groceries. Now it's you spend $100, you only have one bag worth of food.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember watching my mom as a kid. I'll admit, I grew up poor,
Mhm.
and um, on welfare and stuff, and remember how my mom would pinch pennies and not spend a lot of money on things, and and now I look at it and I'm just like, man, I wish, I wish we had the prices that they had back then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
back in the 80s, you know,
Yeah.
70s, and even the 90s, you know,
Mm-hmm.
compared to what they are today. I mean,
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah, it is. You should see it here.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, there, you know, like if you take California for example, gas there is probably close to probably $10 a gallon,
Mm-hmm.
right? Here, I think we filled up the other day at Walmart, and it cost us 306, I think,
Mm-hmm.
per gallon. But
Mm-hmm.
then you go maybe not even a quarter mile away to another gas station, and it was like 337.
That's cheap compared
I
to
mean,
here.
it's
What's
just
gas price for you guys?
That's cheap compared to here, right? We don't have any natural resources, so we have to buy everything, right?
yep.
Yeah, gasoline is like where Amanda is. It's cheaper than here in Tokyo, so like it'll be like, well, let's put, we're saying double, like $6.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
could
per
imagine.
liter, isn't it? Not gallon, but per liter.
Yeah,
I know they charge
yeah.
per liter over here, so like I can't tell you how much it is per
Wow.
It's,
gallon without trying to do math.
well, half a gallon. Well, 1 gallon is like you need it's like half a liter. Okay, so it'd be, you'd have to have double the amount, like $12 to fill
Wow.
up a tank. Yeah.
Jeez.
And that's going to a cheap place to buy gas, right?
Yeah.
And that's not unleaded, right? That's regular.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. And filling up a grocery cart, yeah. For me, I have 3 children, so it's my husband, myself, and 3 children. So I'd pay about $300 for groceries.
Mhm.
Uh, Close to 4, maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's not worth what it was before, right?
Yeah.
No.
And you pay 10% consumption tax on top of that, so
Yeah.
you're you got you're gonna go, oh, I don't feel good. Like you're crying when you at the checkout counter. But yeah, that's what it's like here, and you get half the amount, right?
Mhm.
Like you'll get 4 carrots for $3. Like, okay, for little skimpy wimpy carrots for $3. Yeah, and they say, "Oh, how can you live in the country like that?" I do. How can you do that? And I go, if you think like that, you're never gonna eat anything. You won't be able to eat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's where I'm at is money is a little bit, you stretches a little bit more than here. Like here, it's like, okay, like it's just totally different here. Where she is, it's like things are a little bit cheaper where she is than with in in this part
Mhm.
in this part of Japan. As soon as you get into the city, there you go. You better have lots of money. You better have a lot of cash in your wallet, right?
Wow.
Because you won't be able to make it. That's why I say people who want to come visit, come and stay with me because I'll help you because it's cheaper than a hotel room, right?
Mhm.
And I'll be able to feed you, and we'll be able to go sightseeing because I know the easiest way to get around it, right? Yeah, go where the locals go.
Mhm.
Stay
Right.
where the locals goes. It's cheaper, right?
Mhm.
Like the most I'll pay for a hotel room is about $50, right? And that's
That's why
cheap.
we can never go to Okinawa though, because Okinawa
Oh
hotel
dang!
prices are through the
Oh
roof.
dang! You're saying 300 to $400 a night, right?
Yeah, because we looked into it one time, but we didn't end up going because it was like $300-400 a night starting. I'm like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's discount prices, right?
Those
Oh,
are
wow.
not even the nicer places either.
No, no. Like if you go to a resort hotel, you're gonna pay $400 a night,
Mhm.
and they're nice ones, right? So yeah, It's just totally different in this country. I'm going to be traveling probably to the mainland pretty soon, to America pretty soon, because I've got friends who want me to visit them, so I have to go. And I'm going to be visiting certain haunted places. I think
Mhm.
they're going to take me sightseeing tour.
Now, if you get close to Iowa, let us know, because we have the Railroad Museum that we get to do a lot of stuff
Hmm.
at. We do
Hmm.
a lot of events down there. We're actually having a Paracon there
That'd be
this year.
cool.
Sioux City's never had one, and we're doing the first one this year, so we're kind of hoping it turns out and does well.
That'd be
Um,
cool.
but yeah, the Railroad Museum, the grounds, lots of tragic deaths have been documented down there just because of the type of work that it was. And
Hmm.
stuff like that. We've, like I said, every time we investigate, we always encounter somebody different.
Yeah.
You know, they may not have even worked at the railroad or been on the part of the railroad, but the property adjacent to it, because it's like right next to a river
Mhm.
as well. So there's been deaths on the river too. So
Mm.
we've encountered some things from people who have died on the river as well. So it's over 30 acres of property
Mhm.
that they
There's
have.
always something new, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's all pretty
So
interesting.
yeah, let us know if you're in the Sioux City, Iowa area.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to tell you. Did one of you lose a mother?
I did.
That's why I see her. She's saying hi.
I could believe that.
Yeah.
I definitely could.
Because I've been
When
I've
she
been watching her.
uh,
Oh.
yeah, when she passed away, we was at the hospital,
Mhm.
and she was in ICU, and
Mhm.
she had gotten sepsis from an
Mhm.
infection. But when she actually passed away, I
Mhm.
actually heard her say goodbye
Mhm.
when my nephew and his wife got there. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt she's hanging around somewhere.
That
Okay.
must have been hard though to if you said you're in the room.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
That must have been really hard.
yeah,
It was.
yeah. I was kind of beside myself when because my nephew showed up and we were talking, and I heard her say goodbye, and about that time I had the nurse come in and check, and the only thing that was keeping her heart going was the medicine that she was on.
Mm.
Everything else was gone. So yeah.
Yeah. She kind of like said that I wish I went earlier. I wish I was put on this stuff and these things hooked up to me. I really didn't like it because it just made it worse, she's saying to me.
Mm.
Yeah, when she had to be intubated, we were, I asked her, I asked her, I was like, "Are you sure you want us to do that?" And she said yes, and I'm like, "Okay." I says, "But I said I want you to know that you may not come off of it. Are you sure you want to be on it?" And she wanted it, so
She said she didn't know it would
Right.
be that bad. She said,
right. I don't
Oh.
think she did. I honestly don't think she knew it was
no,
going to be
that bad
the
was,
outcome that it was.
yeah. Like she said, I didn't realize that I had to get this thing shoved down my throat
Hmm.
Mhm.
and being forced with air down my mouth. She said it wasn't nice. It wasn't pleasant. It was the
No.
worst thing. It was the worst thing. In fact, she's describing it as like hell on earth.
Oh.
Yeah, I could believe it. I worked in the ER for a little while too, and seen a bunch of
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, having to have that done, I'm sure is not.
no. And she said they were poking me all the time and prodding me all the time with certain things, and I didn't like that either.
Mhm.
Yep. And people think that when people are in a coma or heavily sedated that they don't know what's really, what's going on around them. And I think
They
still,
feel everything,
they still
and
Yeah.
know.
they see everything, and
Yep.
they're
That's what
aware
I
of
was gonna
whatever.
say is there's been a lot of people who woke up from a coma and they knew exactly everything that was going on around them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she said she didn't like one bit.
No.
And she said, you know what? If I had a choice, as I knew now, I would have liked to have died earlier and not to have this stuff done to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think she really thought she was as sick as she was,
Mm-hmm.
because she had been getting sick for a while and
Yeah,
had
but
some
it
different.
really came on really fast.
Yeah, the
too.
sepsis did, because
You know, she was fine, and then all of a sudden she wasn't.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And she said that I knew I wasn't gonna come out of it. She said I knew that, but
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. It's better now, and yeah, I'm good. She said,
Yeah.
but I have no qualms. I don't blame anybody. I
Mhm.
just didn't know that it would be that bad.
Yeah.
So she's saying it's okay. I have no regrets, and don't worry about it, and don't feel bad for me. She said, because it's okay. So we're good. She's saying,
That's good to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I also do. That's why I don't tell anybody what I do, right?
Well, she can't tell anyone here what she does because
Right.
she will be locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will be in that loony bin, right? And you know what? A lot of people here who do those things that I do, they don't tell anybody either.
No.
But
Yeah.
I'm not the only one in this country, right? And there's a lot of investigators here that won't tell anybody what they do either, because
Mhm.
they got jobs and they're gonna be fired.
Yep.
They need to feed themselves. They need to feed their family, so that's why they don't say anything, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's really sad. It's not open, right?
Mhm.
It's more like this. Like
Mhm.
I'm involved with one group that's open. It's a Japanese man who does all the UFO stuff, right? And he shares pictures and stuff like that, and he explains it what it is. But he's the only one that does that.
UFOs are kind of, I think, more something that you can show,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep,
more
but he's the
that
only
you
one that
can
will do it.
prove.
Yeah, he's the only one that will do it. I mean, a lot of people are scared to even open up and make a group for that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they won't share, or they won't share what they do, and they won't share anything. So it's like we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to tell you anything. Even UFO, even a airplane, commercial pilot had to retire because what he saw, and he explained it what he saw, and and he was forced to retire. You know, it's that bad.
Mhm.
And you think with an old country with all the paranormal experience, you'd think they'd be more open, right?
Mhm.
Well, it's the other way around. It's like a man said, yeah, it's like that. It's like
Mhm.
we don't tell anybody, like we don't talk about it, we don't tell anybody. And they will post their investigations on TikTok, but they won't post it on Facebook because everyone looks at Facebook.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And their boss would be probably watching Facebook and seeing. So they won't post anything. That's why I can't post anything on
Well,
Facebook.
they
But
also do fake accounts,
mm-hmm,
so it can't be traced to their main one. But they
mm-hmm,
also close. They also close DM. You can't message them because they close that
yeah,
off.
Yeah.
yeah. It's just really sad because we're here trying to open it up in this country, and we're the only two people that will, right?
Yeah, that's also one reason why we started this podcast, is so
Mm.
maybe they can eventually find us and know you're not alone here in Japan. You can be safe with us.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
But nah, it seems like it's we're gonna be on this ghost ship for a little while, man.
Yeah. Because one thing people ask me, like, what is Japan Japan's approach to the paranormal, and I'm like, they ignore it. There could be a ghost right in front of them, and they'll just act like they don't see it.
Yep.
Hmm.
And you know what? Like a lot of people that I've talked to, they said they don't believe it. But the older people will kind of like acknowledge it, okay? But the young people, they said nope. And the more educated they get, the worse it is, because they say if it doesn't come and pop in front of me like this, if they can't see it, if they can't touch it, if they can't feel it, they don't believe it.
Right.
Prove it, right? And
See, in
they're
our
really analytical. They're more analytical than ever. Like it's like going to the dentist and getting your wisdom teeth pulled, right? That's how
in
bad.
our country, it seems like it's the younger generation that's more open to it than the
Mhm.
older generation.
Yeah.
Well, the
So
problem is there's also, I say that a lot of the younger generation is what I call the TikTok investigators, where they just
Yeah.
go and do stuff for TikTok.
Yeah.
They
right.
they That's also one reason why a lot of people aren't taking this field seriously anymore,
Mhm.
is the TikTok investigators, because they're faking evidence
Yeah.
just to be
Yeah.
able to post it on TikTok.
Right.
Yeah. And it's really hard to open up in this country about anything like that.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully someday it might change. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
gee whiz, I feel the same way. But I mean, as long as okay, just an example. Okay, there's a hospital that I used to go to. Okay, I know it's haunted. Okay, but you know what? They're gonna make it. They're gonna make it a children's playground because they knocked down the hospital. I go,
Kids are going
okay,
to have all kinds of imaginary friends.
Yeah.
okay, like, and there's a lot of places like that are parks, right, for children to play, but there's no children that's gonna play on that park. Nah, I'm
Mhm.
not going there. Kids won't go there, and yeah, and you're like, okay, you're doing this because you're making a park out of it, right? I go, yeah, have at it, because I'm not going there, and my kids are not gonna go there either. Like,
Mhm.
Nope.
get it, right?
I'll be right back.
It sounds like my dogs are ready to eat.
They say I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Feed me.
My son must have moved downstairs.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I mean, the things they do is just absolutely crazy. What do you think about cemeteries, that they're developing cemeteries and just removing the headstones?
That is the
That's not a
worst
good thing
thing
to do,
ever.
yeah.
No, how disrespectful that is.
Yeah, because they need the land, right? And they're building houses on top of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, really? Yeah, think. Oh dear.
But they're starting to do that at cemeteries now over there in the States. We
Yeah.
were and I was just saying this yesterday. I'm waiting for the United States when it comes to cemeteries be like what Japan does. Japan, you don't have your own plot. You have a
Mhm.
family plot.
Yeah.
But it's not bodies buried. They cremate you down to your bones. They put your bones into a ceramic pot, and then they put the ceramic pot into the stone.
Yep.
So your last name will be on the front, and the
Mhm.
back will be the names of the individuals whose bones are in there and
Yep.
what dates they were alive and when they died.
And because land is so precious, right?
Mhm.
They can't afford to bury it under the earth anymore. There are certain old Buddhist temples that have plots during the samurai era. They were buried in the earth, but I mean that's protected, right? because that's part of the Buddhist temple. And that's the only thing that has that there. But I mean, the law changed where you cannot intern a body the way it is, so they have to be cremated. It's the law now.
Wow.
Even animals, even pets have to be cremated. So
Wow.
yeah, the law changed. I think it was, when did it change? 1985 or so. It changed. Yeah, that's when the law changed, and everyone has to be cremated now.
Hmm.
To
I
save.
hear they keep expanding cemeteries
Yeah.
here, and I know I was watching on the news here a couple weeks ago that some of the city-owned cemeteries are raising prices too. So yeah,
I mean, that's ridiculous. You know what?
me, I'm just like, cremate me.
That's
We
what a lot of
got
people are getting
kids.
cremated now, is they can't
Yeah.
afford the burial plot.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I just want to be cremated. Put me into 7 different jars. Well, 8. And then give each one to my kids. And each one of the urns is going to have eyes on it. So that you put me in a spot, and everywhere you go, I'm following you. Everywhere you go.
What? Did they say that is creepy?
That's what I want for my kids.
Gosh.
People are starting to make businesses out of creative ways that you could use the ashes. Like, you can now use ashes to make a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're just like, what? Is that diamond haunted?
Yeah. Oh, that's grandma. And they go, oh,
Yeah.
that's grandma. Yeah.
It's like, why is my finger doing that with the ring on it?
Like, no thanks. Would you want that, Amanda?
I was saying, my biggest fear is, you find a nice piece of jewelry, like either at an estate sale or a garage sale or somewhere, or someone even gifts it to you. You don't exactly know where they found it or got it from, and it turns out it's someone's grandma.
Right. Yeah.
That's like my biggest fear.
Right? Yeah.
The reason, like, well, that's why you take it to a jeweler, get appraised. And I'm like, most people don't do that though.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you might not know it was made from someone's ashes for like the longest time.
Yeah. Never thought about that.
Yeah.
And there's another thing that we don't have. We don't have estate sales. We don't have what was it that you call it? Estate jewelry in a jewelry store? They don't have that here either.
You can find secondhand stores for clothes and electronics. Not
And
trinkets.
toys, but they have to be brand new, right? Not out of the box. Like if you win it in a UFO catcher, you can sell it the way it is, right? But they don't have estate jewelry. They don't have anything like this here because it could contain a spirit, and they don't want anybody buying somebody else's grandma's thing that has their essence in it or their energy in it. So that's what they don't have here in this country.
What do they do with all the stuff?
They give it to the family, or you can sell it and it be melted down into a brick, into a bar. Yeah. You could do that too, or you could melt it and make something else out of it that you like.
Still gonna have that essence to it though.
Yeah.
It's still the same object, it's just different form.
Yeah. But you don't sell it.
Yeah.
You can't sell it. And people don't want to buy it either.
That's to stay with the family, yeah.
Yeah, it has
Also,
to
what
stay in the
Irene was saying is, if you're gonna given a certain gift, once from someone, you still have to, if the person passes away, you give it back to the family.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just something that you it's just kind of like an unwritten rule in this country. You
So it's
just
kind of like they don't believe in the paranormal,
hmm
but they believe in superstition,
yeah.
Yeah.
which is paranormal.
Oh yeah.
It's just a different name.
They'd rather
It's
call it superstitions or
yeah.
culture or traditions than
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
paranormal.
Okay.
Because from the time that you
Yeah.
wake
Yeah.
up, the time you go to bed is all paranormal. Yeah.
Even the way you eat.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you notice my room has no mirrors in my living room. They don't like that either. Only the mirror that I have is in front of my sink, where when you go to the toilet, you wash
Mhm.
your hands in front of the sink. That's the only place where I got a mirror. They don't put mirrors in the living room or anywhere else like that. They have one downstairs in the front entrance where you put your shoes away and you put your other stuff away that you don't need, like your tarps or stuff like that. They have a entrance place where you put your shoes and your tarp and stuff like that. Well, that's the only place where you may have a mirror, but that's it.
Hmm.
Because they don't want a portal coming in your home.
Hmm.
So you're not allowed to have a mirror in your living room.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a couple.
But not in the living room.
No.
But in our house we do. But yeah.
Yeah. But they're so superstitious about certain things like that.
Yeah.
They don't. Yeah. It's just you you kind of like, why? Like, because they go, okay,
Yeah.
because that's it,
Just
because
because.
okay. But kids grow up watching paranormal um uh cartoons at a very young age,
Yep.
and they grow up with it, so they know it.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time they're adults, they already know the whole thing about it. But they don't
Yeah,
talk
but
about
it's
it.
easier to say when it's a cartoon. Oh, it's just a cartoon.
Yeah.
But it's all paranormal, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's like, okay, okay, that's paranormal, isn't it? And even the comic books are paranormal too, And they say, okay, that's just the paranormal, doesn't it? You go, yep. And you see, Hinatama means it's a spirit will look like a teardrop, but it's blue, and it's a spirit, and they're following these kids around because it's dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of cartoons that they have in this country, right?
Mm.
And yeah, it's just like, okay, that's paranormal, isn't it? And they go, and my kids used to watch. You go, okay, yeah, okay, okay. You're like, uh, and yet they don't believe paranormal. Okay, yeah, but the kids don't even for this day. They said, oh, that place haunted. Oh, that school's haunted. And their schools are haunted too in Japan too. So they're kind of old too. So yeah, they're haunted. And they said, okay, that place is haunted. They go, yeah, how do you know? Oh, because I heard from a lot of people. I go, okay, so it's like hearsay, right? Chatter. So yeah.
So, do you guys have Amazon and Tubi and stuff like that over there?
We got
So,
Amazon.
have you guys? I don't know if you've seen our Facebook and stuff like that, but we actually do have a couple shows. One of them's already out, and it's called The Real Haunted Mansion 2.
Okay.
And that's a documentary that we filmed in Sioux City at the Pierce Street Mansion.
Well, it was motion picture video. They're
Yeah.
out of Las Vegas. Came down and video.
They're the ones who filmed it.
Filmed it for us. Yeah.
But that was filmed at the Pierce Street Mansion in Sioux City, which used to be the Sioux City Public Museum at one time as well. But that's an interesting show to watch if you guys like documentary stuff.
Oh, I
Tubi, I
do.
don't think we have over here. Amazon, I'd have to see if we can get it on Japan Amazon, because Japanese Amazon is completely different than
Mhm.
American
Mhm.
Amazon.
There's a lot of other streaming sites that it's on out there too. I can't remember all of them, but I think it might be on Apple TV as well.
I got that.
But yeah, I mean, if you go out and you search for it, I'm sure you'd be able to find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of streaming services that don't stream
Yeah.
in Japan. We had to get a VPN for a lot of our streaming services.
Oh wow!
I have
Just
satellite.
right?
I have a satellite TV. it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
The thing is that really bothers me is that if Amanda wants to find out some information about certain things, I have to look it on my Google, because her Google doesn't allow her to
Or
find.
sometimes her Google will say something different than mine, and we can compare the two. I'm like, this is what mine shows. And she's like, well, this is what mine shows.
Isn't that interesting? How they're different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we didn't think it was, so we started comparing our Googles.
Yeah. And
Because I'm
she
like,
said,
well, this is what it says. What does yours say? And she just snapshots it, and it might say something different or a better definition than what mine says.
it's just, and mine will have it in depth and what was it, Wikipedia or something like that.
Mhm.
And then she couldn't find it. She goes, "Do you know what this is about?" I go, "Okay, let me look it up." And then have to send her the link. And she goes, "Okay, that's a little bit different. Okay, I could use that." And I go, "Okay, what else do you need?" Like it's just totally different. Like mine is more of an Asian thing, and hers is still from America, so they don't share, right,
Mhm.
information, and that's probably why it's really hard to find anything, because it's not shared with everyone else, and you're just trying to find something, and you can't find anything, and it makes it hard as it is, because you can't find any information in the beginning, but it makes it more difficult, right? So we're just like we're just pulling our hairs out of our heads, because we're trying to find certain things on certain haunted places or certain urban legends, and yeah, it's not gonna let her get to it. And
Wow.
yeah, and we do urban legends too in this country, so we're trying to figure out which urban legend we're gonna pick up and stream. So we do that too, because urban legends is a part of this country also, and there's
So there's like thousands of them, but unfortunately, like we were saying earlier, just because there's thousands of them, there might be a sentence on what looked like and where it was usually found, and that might be it.
yeah,
Right.
and it's like when we talk, we want to give more of a detailed information about our urban legends. So it's like a hit and miss, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you can find somewhere
Mm-hmm.
that has some type of actual documentation.
Mm-hmm.
And, the place that's probably going to have it is the government. They're the ones who's going to have that information.
But they're just not going to disclose or
they have
share
it-
that.
They have it locked up, and until
Yeah.
something changes, it'll stay that way.
I think most of the urban legends are in the countryside, right? So we're gonna have to do a road trip to find urban legends about certain places, right?
Figure it out yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because they have different museums and places like that where they will show things like that. And I think road trip is the only way we're gonna find Amanda.
Yep.
So, anyways,
Road trips are good.
Yeah.
yeah. We're
Sometimes if
meant.
you go to the town where the urban legend was found, they might have museum that you can
Mhm.
find.
Yeah.
That's honestly more for like the tourists that go there and see the museums, though.
Mhm.
Well, you'll just have to go and be a tourist.
Yeah, that's probably what we'll have to go and do with that too. Is just go and
Yeah.
visit those towns, visit the museums, see if they have anything more. Sometimes it's just like a museum with something else, but
Mhm.
they might have
Mhm.
that one piece of evidence they said was from this cryptid. Like I know
Mhm.
there's one museum that's supposed to have our version of Bigfoot, the foot imprint.
Oh.
Our version of Bigfoot, he's only 5 foot tall, but his feet were 10 inches long, 6 inches wide.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's not too far from where Amanda is. But yeah.
Hiroshima, yeah.
Yeah.
They're so they're yeah, with because I live near both Nagasaki bombing area and the Hiroshima one. That's why I also have more cryptids in my area than she would in Tokyo. But I
Mhm.
think their best guess, because no one's actually out there trying to find any of them to really research them. Scientists said that our best guess is the radiation from the bombs either mixed with humans or mixed with animals and changed them to what you saw as that cryptid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's possible.
And they're also saying that um Godzilla was real too. And it lived in the mountains or near the volcanoes, right? Because there are tons of volcanoes in this country, live ones too. And they're saying that it did happen, and there was such a creature that was big and huge and lived in the mountains. So it's just like they're coming out with these kind of information, but scientists want money, okay? You don't have money, you can't research it, right?
Right.
And they're not going to fund it, right? And the government freak out about the university. Well, you have to like do this to them, and they might, right? If you find anything that's worthwhile. But yeah, it's like getting funding for research is almost like impossible. Like if it's medical, yeah, they'll do it. If it's robotic, they'll do it. But it has to do with Bigfoot or Godzilla, forget it, right?
Yeah.
So you're not
Right.
gonna find there, and we're kind of like saying, well, why not? You know, it's the most really interesting subject. We're looking everywhere for information, right? And yeah, it's like we're lucky we got a paragraph out of the Bigfoot in Japan. Like, okay, one
Yeah.
paragraph, well, whoopee ding, right?
Mhm.
And we want to know more, and
Mhm.
it's like almost, yeah, it's impossible, and we just want to help the public and inform the public and let them see what we have, because what we have is so ancient and so different than any other place
Mhm.
that it could be interesting to a lot of people who are into the same stuff as we are in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. And it's like yeah, when you're closed off and when you live in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, like you you can't find anything, right? And you can't as far as I'll go is I'll probably ask the spirit. Like the way I can do is I can talk to them and I can ask them questions, and yeah, if I can find any document with that asking them, I'll do it. That's how desperate I am, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like everyone's like, you're weird, or you crazy, you're gonna do that. I go, well, what else have I got left to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
no one's gonna tell me anything. So the best thing I can do is talk to spirit or ghost and ask them questions. And that's how desperate I am these days. And it's become to that. It's going that route now. And they say, "Man, you must be different." I said, "Yeah, I am." Like, hell, I am that desperate. I just want to know, please.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's nuts. I go, yeah, it is nuts. But I mean, what else can I do, right?
Right.
So, anyways, Amanda, I gotta boot out because I gotta go someplace.
Okay. Well, it's nice having you guys on the show. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, it
And
was
hopefully you guys come back on the show sometime.
Oh, for sure.
absolutely, yeah.
And
Yeah.
message, because yeah, we could share a lot of stuff.
All right. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating conversation. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, hopefully you'll come back on the show sometime. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
And for everyone who watched and joined us or watching later, thank you so much.
Thank
We'll
you
see you
for
next
it.
time.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Mhm.